November 9th. Gorgeous day outside Dr. Sound Academy. As Nelson just said, we'll be discussing the M-864D digital mixer. Today, the agenda is a general overview and features of the product, its connectivity, all of that get along together, an overview of the software as well as an overview of the iPad app for the M864 and some application examples. So here it is. It's a 3RU rack-mounted device with non-motorized sliders. Okay, so excuse me, it's a 4RU device. So basically, we have 15 inputs available to us, and that's including 8 mono inputs and 7 stereo input channels. There's 6 output channels with 4 mono out and 1 stereo output channels, and those can be all controlled from the device from the 14 faders on the mixer. We have 2 great features that we have carried from other devices also on the M864D. It's the ARC function, so the automatic resonance control function, which is basically an automatic feature in order to set up the DSP of the mixer. We also have FBS, so feedback suppression, automatic feedback suppression on our M864D. We do have a mute function on the input, the stereo inputs. Obviously, tone control on bass, mid, treble. We have 5-band parametric EQ on the outputs. Phantom power is available to us as far as low cut filter, pad gain, and all kind of adjustments also available for each of the mono inputs. Where it gets interesting also is we have a different type of control available for the M864D. It can be controlled from the 9000 series ZM modules, and we'll see the accessories at the end as well for the M864. It can also be operated from a computer, so a laptop, a PC, whatever, or an iPad as well with the iPad application. So if we look at the front panel, typically you've got all the controls available from a typical mixer with sliders. I do repeat that those are non-motorized sliders, and this can get important at some point because you can control this device in different fashion. So the sliders are not always the right reference for the volume outputs of the sliders. So that's important to keep in mind. So you'll have all kind of also control and monitor from those front panels. So you'll have some LED for the low cut and the FBS function. Obviously, tone and gain assignment button is there, as well as the tone and gain control LED. Output assignment button. Mono input switch for the stereo inputs as well in order to turn them to mono. The arc button and the LED function is also monitored from the front panel, and the record out as well. Same thing here. We can see on the output side the control for the tone, the bass, the mid, and the treble. The 4 output sliders with the view meter as well are there, and obviously the power switches on the front panel of the device. This will all connect either with Phoenix connectors or stereo RCA connectors as well for more commodity from the stereo device that will be feeding the mixer. And since it's an assignable IP device, we have the RG45 network connector. So diagram here about the connectivity of the device. So we will see at the bottom the stereo device connected to the mixer. So we see a DVD player, CD player, could be also a streamer, an iPod. Any stereo device will connect with the regular RCA input jacks that are available to us. We do have Phoenix connectors for our microphones level inputs, as well as Phoenix connector for the output as well, and for the control IOs available to us. You'll see also that we have the Phoenix connector for the ZM remote controllers. And we'll see the accessories at the end, but I'll remind you that only the series of the ZM901X will work with the M-864. The previous ZM controllers for the older version of the 9000 series will not work. So only with the one with the LED equipped controllers will work. So 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Obviously, outputs are available to us for the line level signal for the amplifier we'll be utilizing for our projects. And that's a little bit the way the flow is on that. So again, we see typically how the PC will connect to our mixer. So from the switching hub, you'll reach out to the M-864D. And the ZM remote controller will connect to the Phoenix connector on the identified here link. So we have 2 links for 2 sets of controller, and we have a maximum of 16 controllers that we can be using with the M-864D. Over here, we see that we have the ZM controller with the LED light, and you will have to utilize some Cat5 and more shielded cable. And that's important. Over the years, we did add some people utilizing non-shielded cable, and some problems were occurring with a non-shielded category cable, Cat5 or more. I mean, it's not important to use really the latest category cable, but it has to be shielded. It's a digital processor, so basically we have some ADDA modules in there, so encoding from analog to digital, and then from digital to analog in order to bring us to the line level outputs of there. And all the processing is done digitally. We'll look now a little bit at the software overview. So this is a nice software, well done for a technician as well as for the end user, because we do have the flow, the operation, and all the programming thumbnails available to us on the left. But the operation and control of the mixer is fairly easy from the operation, and we'll see that as we go through. So what we have available to us on the software, obviously, we have access to the memory view, the unit view, and the connection view. So basically telling us which preset we're utilizing, which unit is connected to our laptop, and we see the connection status as well on the software. So like I was saying, there is different tabs for different type of application of the software. The flow view tab, the operation, the level monitor view tab, contact monitor, and remote monitor view tab, and we'll be going through them. So here we have the flow view tab. So that's basically where you're going to assign the names of your input, the names of your outputs, if you want to tag them differently. That's where also you'll be controlling your cross points, the PQ, the ARC functions as well from the software, because the ARC can be initiated also directly from the front panel, but you can also use it, utilize it directly from the software. And obviously, you'll have the metering and everything available there. And if you want to copy paste the inputs to all of the other ones, that's also possible. So it is kind of user friendly. It's a good software in that sense. Here we have a view of the gain setting. So basically, just like a regular mixer, you'll be able to control your gain setting directly from the software as well, and also turn on or off your phantom power and adjust your low cut filter. So as there is some sliders on the mixer itself, on the physical mixers, the software is also emulating the sliders. So that's where I was saying that it's important to keep in mind that they're non-motorized sliders. So if you do change some settings from the sliders, and those adjustments are live, instantaneous from the software, it will not change the setting on the device itself. And it's the same thing when you're utilizing as well the ZM controllers, the remote panels available to us. If you change a volume from the ZM keypads, it will not change the sliders either on the software or on the mixer. So it's important to keep that in mind so you don't change it accidentally a slider on the device when you think that the volume was too low, but it was not. It was correct. Flow view tab, tone control. So we have there digital control on the bass, mid, and treble, as well as you can have PEQ capability there and go select the frequency exactly that you want to set up from your bass, mid, and treble. Here is the control window for the feedback suppression. So obviously it's dynamic and it's going to set up automatically, but you can also give parameters to the FBS in order to limit some of this feedback suppression effect. There is stereo input assignment available to us. Obviously, threshold level setting also is there, and you can have up to 60 dB reduction from the threshold. On the flow view tab as well, that's where you're going to set the matrix to route your signal to the right outputs. And here's the window for the 5-band parametric EQ available to us on the output side. So 5-band, which will give you pretty good control over the equalization of your system. And also on the flow view tab, you will see the results of the ARC function and also the ability to modify the results of this ARC settings once they have been finalized by the mixer itself. Just to come back a little bit to the ARC and make sure that everybody's familiar with this function. The auto resonance control basically is an automatic feature in order to set up automatically the DSP. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to set up a microphone in a room that you want to equalize. And the ARC is going to send a bunch of audio tests in order to set up the DSP, and we do have a great performance out of our ARC function. So it's going to be able to capture the acoustic of the room and make the proper adjustment in order to make your audio more intelligible. So we do have sliders also on the right for the record out and the other adjustment available to us on the flow view tab. So basically all the control from the front end of the equipment is duplicate on the software as well. You can also and that's where it's get important is you can give control of the volume priority to the device that you want. So we see here that all the inputs are tagged 1 to 8, and you can enable or disable like the slider in the front, or the sliders from the PC, or external control of each inputs or outputs. So if you don't want an accident to arrive, like somebody lifting a slider on the front of the machine, well, you can disable this slider and give the control only to the PC or the external control that could be the ZM controllers that we have discussed earlier. But if those are not properly set up in your project, well, you can have some accidents over the control of the volume. Well, this is the operation view tab. So basically for the end users, the ability to just rise the slider for the volume that they wish to play for each inputs and outputs. Do we really want to do this with the end users? Well, depending on your end users, you might or you might not. I kind of prefer to give to an end user control over a ZM controller, so they will not mess around with the rest of the programming of the system. But if you're comfortable with your end user using the software, well, at least they can also control the mixer from the software directly. And obviously there's a level view tab, and you can monitor all of your level from one snapshot there, all the inputs, all the stereo inputs, the mono out and the record out levels. So obviously this will be working only if it's connected live to the mixer. Contact view tab. So basically, that's only to show up the activity that will be happening on the control inputs and the control outputs of the device. And those are the view tab for the remote controllers. So you'll see which controller is used under which address of your system. Like we see here that we have a ZM 9011 on the address 4 of the system, a 9012 on the address 5, 9013 on the 6, and 9014 on the 7. Very easy and intuitive also to set up with the software, the ZM controllers. Even more, this has been evolving from the 9000 series. You have even more control from the controllers with the M-864 than with the 9000. So basically all of the items listed there are controllable from a ZM controller there. As I mentioned, we can have up to 16 keypads on one mixer. So what you can do with the ZM controllers, here we're illustrating 9014, which is one of our most popular remote controller. We have 4 assignable buttons and a pot for the volume there. So you can be selecting channel on and off. Obviously, you can control the volume. You can select different source, be mono or stereo line. You can control a cross point as well. You can load up a complete scene also from one of the assignable button. And you can also activate a control output from those buttons as well. Let's say you want to close up the light in your room. Well, you can assign also the control output to do so with other equipment connected to mixer. Those obviously can be controlled from a third-party device, just like AMX or Crestron or others that will have IP assignment capability. And over here, we'll see a little bit how this will be controlled and the possibility of the ZM 9014 there. And obviously, since like I was saying, it's an IP device, well, external or third-party control system can also access the mixer in order to take the control over it, like calling up a scene from an AMX panel or rising up a volume in a particular output or on a particular input. Those are all control available to us from the network protocol control. So this is also a little bit how you'll control those device, assigning the IP address of your device and the port number on your system, and you can tag all of that like it's illustrated here, DVD input select, CD player, whatever. So here is the accessories available now to us with the M-864. We have discussed already the ZM controllers. We have 4 different models available to us: the 9011, 12, the 13, and the 14. Also, speaker processor is available to us for this mixer. It's a DSP, but for more sophisticated speaker management, we strongly recommend to use the speaker processor as well in your system, and we'll give example of application with that. And we have relaunched also now a year or so ago the PP01T priority paging box for the M-864D. Since we're using a lot those mixer in school, college, and all kind of public spaces, sports complex, we often have paging priority in the building, and this box will accommodate paging coming from additional system to take priority over the mixer if there is an emergency paging in the building. Now we'll look a little bit at the app. It's important to mention that the iOS app is available only for the iPad, not for the iPhone at this time. We'll look a little bit at how it works. So you'll find that on the App Store. Search for the M-864D app, and you'll find that easily. Then you'll install that on your iPad and select and synchronize with the device available there. You'll easily find the mixer from the scanner application on the iOS app, and just save the device that you have found, and you'll be able to control them. You'll have to register also those device and sign in with because the device are password and username protected in order to control the equipment. Basically, what's going to happen there is it's going to emulate a little bit again the front of the equipment in order to give to the end user the control over the mixer. So basically, all the sliders are there for the mono and the stereo outputs as well. You'll have the view meters available to you, also the levels of your outputs available on the application as well. And also you can load or even store a scene from the application, which can be very handy for the end user. Application examples for our digital mixer. We have a complete diagram here illustrating the application of a house of worship. So basically, we have in this system our digital mixer M864. This is also utilizing the speaker processor DPS3 that and we were discussing earlier, as we have some line arrays in that system. This will give us the ability to have electronic crossover and also delays possibility, because we do also have under balcony speakers in this house of worship, and we need delay. So basically, we have 3 wireless microphone connected to the M864. This is going to the DPS SP3 for speaker processor and delays. And we have an output going to the DA550F. The diagram is not totally right. The second line should go to the DA250F in order to boost the under balcony speaker that is in this project. Another example here is a gymnasium. As I've said, we're using a lot of those devices for a gym wherever they are, and sportplex, college, schools, etc. Basically, we do have here our mixers, wireless microphone. Obviously, there would be also some other source connected to this system. This is an excellent mixer for this type of application, especially that you can give wireless control to your end user in order to set up the system as they wish and use the right inputs. And the event that they're running might be a competition of any sort, or just a class with the gym teacher. It's a very good example for the application of the M-864D. We can also easily do room combining with the M-864. Those can be set up as scenes on the mixer to call up all kind of different setup for your room combining. So we see the example on the top where we have 4 different rooms. You could have also a different setup for 2, 3 rooms different. You could also have another setup that would call up for 2 larger rooms or just 1 big room. So easy to do with that. There's plenty of memories available to us to create any kind of scenes for this type of utilization.